About a year ago, I made a video on this Reddit post. Software left in nostalgia land does not equal dead software, bringing KDE 1 into the modern world. This is a developer that decided, you know what? I'm going to take KDE 1, I'm going to fork it, I'm going to call it MiDE, but not just that. I'm also going to go and fork Qt 2, call that Osiris, and port KDE 1 over to Qt 2. The reason why he's doing Qt 2 and not Qt 1 stuff is basically because Qt 2 is very similar to Qt 1, but includes a lot of basic quality of life improvements that, you kind of want to be there. Things like scroll wheel support, for instance. But the goal is not just to go and take this old desktop, keep it alive, keep it running on modern systems, but also to go and make some improvements. Not like complete redesigns of the system, keeping in line with the vision of KDE 1, but improvements that would have been there if KDE 1 was made now. Things such as some pretty big bugs that stopped it from even being remotely usable, fixing multi-monitor support, something you just kind of expect to be there, some quality of life additions, support for desktop entries, notification support, a bunch of other things, but also porting Osiris and in turn MiDE over to Wayland. Now, when I covered this a year ago, it was kind of a pain to go and test because, well, it required building everything from source, and you're building basically a 30-year-old environment from source, so making sure you had all the dependencies around was going to be annoying, and the dev was in the middle of porting over to a new build system as well, so whether or not the build system was going to work correctly, who knows? And then in some cases, just some weird undocumented things that the dev wasn't really ready to have people go and properly test this yet. Well, there's still a lot of work to see that vision all the way through, but now it's going to be a lot easier to go and test. My desktop KDE 1 fork development preview release. Today, packages are available for Debian 13 and Ubuntu 24.04, and you can now get a glimpse of what the Linux desktop was like in the late 90s and early 2000s without all the trouble to get it running. I'd be remiss to not explicitly note this is a development preview release, which means there are bugs. They're very important bugs, which is the reason why I took so long to cover this. And there may also be undiscovered security issues, so be aware that my desktop is not considered stable yet. Don't go and run it on hardware, just run it in a virtual machine. Just run in a virtual machine and you'll be fine. For those itching to get their hands on the packages, head over to this page to get installation instructions. You can also get the source tree and compile it yourself if you want, though the packages are recommended, as you get updates as they're released and they are generally known to work. So if you want to go and test it for yourself, all of those instructions are available here. Be sure to go and make sure you read the right ones for the environment you are using. Also note that this is specifically for Debian 13 and Ubuntu 24.04. If you are using something else, it may work, it may not. Just if you want to test it, use what is suggested here, unless you want to help out and get it on more things. So here we have, well, GDM, but here we have my desktop, MiDE KDE 1. Now, it's a little bit funky, like this bar appearing over this desktop icon, but at its core, this is KDE 1 for better or worse. Probably for worse, but regardless, I still think it's really cool. And again, this is very early. This is a development preview. I don't know what bugs I run into that are KDE 1 bugs and what bugs are porting bugs. For example, if I click this menu, even though my cursor's down the bottom here, if I click and then click again without moving, it goes into that menu. Obviously, sometimes it does. Actually, wait, I don't even know now. It did. It literally just did before. I don't know why it didn't that time. Okay, I guess there maybe is a bug there. But if you have experienced KDE 1, well, you're going to get KDE 1. Feel free to go and dig around it, see what works, see what doesn't. You're going to run into a lot of things that certainly don't. So, yeah. The reason why it took so long to test this is there was a bug where it would immediately crash out to the display manager. Like, immediately. Every single time. Except the first time. Every time after the first time, it would just die. That problem's no longer there, so now you can actually go and test it. And obviously, this is very different to modern KDE, but it is kind of crazy how much of that sort of KDE vision is still there, even though the design language is so very different. And things that are not really enabled by default now are enabled here, but it is kind of weird that it still feels like KDE, right? I don't know what it is about it. I recommend you go and try it, but it just still feels like, okay, a bunch of things don't work. It still, and that one definitely doesn't work. It still has that, like, vibe to it. It's very gray. It doesn't have a wallpaper set by default. Actually, with the wallpaper, what is this menu doing? Oh, it just didn't load the thing. Okay, again, it's a little buggy. With the wallpaper, there are wallpapers available here, but if I try to apply them, they don't actually work. So, yeah, there's also that. Again, early development porting preview. I know people like to trash talk GNOME and Ubuntu, and I do the same thing as well, but that's another one where if you go back and look at early Ubuntu GNOME, they really locked in that style, like, straight away, and effectively never changed it. Now, I know some people are going to argue, oh, but this thing changed and that thing changed, but the overall design vision at, like, you look at the system from the outside, it's always been the same thing. Now, besides the random issues I've shown, and maybe I'll do a stream messing around with this, there are some other known issues with the project. Firefox and Chrome do not behave/resize correctly. Firefox panics and expands to infinity on the right side of the screen, and Google Chrome simply refuses to be adjusted from its small box at all. This is the biggest thing keeping anyone from daily driving it. Not having a working web browser is usually a pretty big deal. I guess you could try to install something like WebKit GTK based, I guess. Or maybe you want to use like a terminal browser, but most people are using Firefox or Chrome. There are a few other options. Taskbar menus show when clicked but disappear immediately. Expanding categories in the control center sometimes don't actually expand the list visibly or behave. This is the one we saw where the menus were not actually loading until we resize the window. There is no multi-monitor awareness, though it will expand across all available screens without complaining. I think people tend to forget that in the early days of X11, we didn't have X-Render. Like, that wasn't a thing. If you wanted to modify your monitor layout, the way you do it is just reload your entire desktop and modify the config file. Xrender was created after this desktop was made, so none of the monitor configuration tooling even takes that into consideration. Plans? Yes, lots. Unfortunately, development has been a bit slower than I expected, but good results take time. I've recently had more time freed up, so dev speed will pick up a bit here. You'll notice that a lot of KDE applications are missing. Currently, just the very basics are working. I plan to get the other applications working and included, so you'll have KEdit, KWrite, KCalc, KMix, etc., though the names are likely to be slightly changed to not get confused with modern KDE, similar to what Trinity does as well. Fix scrolling in all applications, add power options, shutdown, restart, etc. to the logout menu, rewrite KDM to work on a modern system, add sound support back in with support for the modern sound stack. So you might not even think this is a problem a desktop would have to consider, but when this released, this is pre-Pulse Audio. This is even pre-Ulsa. Ulsa and KDE 1 released in the same year. Ulsa didn't get added into the kernel until 2002. This is still during the days of OSS, Open Sound System, and everything obviously expects Open Sound System to be there. A Wayland port is planned, though that's going to take a lot of time and effort. I'm curious to know what he's going to do there. I have had the developer on the podcast before. I don't remember what he said the plan was here. I would expect, though, just build it on top of something like LabWC and then have all of the applications rely on WL Roots protocols. That seems like the most logical way to do so. This is not the desktop that most people are ever going to run. This is not the desktop that most people are ever going to want. But it doesn't change the fact that this is still a really cool project, and I am very glad the developer is working on it. So let me know your thoughts down below. Is this something you would consider using? Do you think this is kind of like a neat little archival project, but not something you'd actually use, or maybe you're already using it? I would love to know. And let me know what you think about the project in general. Do you even think it's just worth doing, or just a waste of time? Let me know down below. If you liked the video, go like the video. If you go subscribe as well. If you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon subscribe daily bearer pay linked in the description down below. That's going to be it for me, and hey, I think it's neat.